Back with Brother Rue.
Boom.
Hey, we got something we're going to get into, and that is basically, is ELK Finance behind the scenes working with Swift Blockchain? Now, some people will say, I don't even know what ELK Finance is. You're going to want to tune in more for this. And of course, you know, the drill, this helps benefit the channel. DCENT Wallet, not your keys, not your crypto. Get yourself a significant discount. We'll jump right back.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to DCENT Wallet. It's just a few taps. You can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your DCENT Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.
All right, welcome back. So basically it's like this. You might not have ever heard of ELK Finance. They have kind of a similar use case compared to Swift Blockchain. And of course, we'll give you some of these Swift Blockchain updates. So for one, posted on May 27th from ELK Finance, says, "Good morning. I hope you're enjoying the bull run. It's been a slow boat for many alts. However, ELK is still here, quietly working away." Now, one thing I want to point out to all you guys is basically this. I kind of feel like same thing with Swift Coin. Quietly working away, doing things in the background. They don't give us a lot of these updates, but they're clearly doing some things. And that's real eye-opening to me, especially in light of all the new recent regulation and hints of it. I shouldn't even say hints of it. I mean, things are coming real soon, and we're in summertime. So what's the next big step? Well, ELK Finance points out their team is dedicated and hasn't missed a beat. We continue to create and refine our products. Again, I feel like Swift Blockchain does a similar thing. Now check this out for a moment. This is important. If you go to Swift Blockchain, for example, or ELK Finance, you'll see that they are actually followed by Swift Blockchain. And of course, they're even followed by Telcoin. That's interesting. Rue, of course.
Oh, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, I know, because you covered, like, you know, Telcoin. But of course, you know, the focus on this is Swift Blockchain. So it's like, interesting. You know, sometimes we just get little hints without breaking any type of NDA. And I understand this is speculative, but it is worth pointing out. Another reason why I want to point this out is just on a simple Grok conversation. It says, while ELK Finance and Swift Blockchain share these commonalities, they differ in their approach. So for one, let's do a compare and contrast. Token-centric versus swap-centric. ELK Finance relies heavily on its ELK token. It's a settlement currency for cross-chain transfers. As we know, when we talk about Swift Blockchain, cross-chain swaps, right? So creating a unified liquidity model. Swift Blockchain focuses on direct swaps between any supported cryptocurrencies, offering more flexibility, but without a single native token for bridging. Scope of chains. ELK currently supports 25 EVM compatible chains with plans for non-EVM expansion, while Swift Blockchain supports 50 public blockchains, including those that are non-EVM networks like Tron and Solana. And then when we do another video for you guys, you will see a lot of focus on both Tron and Solana. And of course, Rue and I cover ZBCN. Obviously, they're on Solana, so that's also important.
Yep.
Additional features to this. Swift Blockchain offers unique social features like red packets. Rue's done a few deep dives about that. Payment links, which ELK Finance does not provide, but conversely, ELK Finance emphasizes yield farming and ILP, which are not highlighted in Swift's offerings. Now, the part above this talks about, for example, both platforms foster ecosystem growth by providing developer tools and, of course, infrastructure. And another thing that's common with them both is both projects focus on optimizing liquidity and trading efficiency, again, in cross-chain environments. So there is kind of like common ground here, Rue, is the way I look at it. And let's get more into actually the coin/token itself. So for one, this is ELK Finance. Really, really low in the rankings. I doubt most people in our community have ever heard of this, to the exception of like your Michael Cornwells, or briefly a couple years ago on my channel, I introduced this on a live show, but never did a formal deep dive into necessarily ELK. And I don't want to make this all about ELK, but keep in mind, we're always trying to find some gems. Are we not, Rue?
Yes, for sure. And I think Underdog Research Channel, shout out to him. When we were talking about Swift, he might have mentioned ELK, but don't quote me on that.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, shout out to Underdog. We miss you, brother. And with that also said, max supply of ELK is 42.42 million. So that in itself is a sense of scarcity. Just a little warning, right? Some people pointed out, max are always about good news. Well, is that such a bad thing? Well, here's some of the, I guess you call it bad news if you want to call it there. Only 11.99 million ELK is in the self-reported circulating supply. So that's roughly close to about what, 1/4. But here's the key thing. While it's roughly around 20-25% in the circulation, you're still dealing with a maximum supply that's very limited. This is not a coin that has billions, right? We're talking about millions. This doesn't have trillions. So that's very attractive, right? The other thing I want to point out also is on the 1 year, it's about down about 70%. Well, guess what? Sometimes you want to catch things when they go the other direction.
Right.
Okay. Of course, compared to all time, all right, I'm not trying to hide this information or nothing like that. All time, huge difference, right? So for one, let's go over to here. So all time lows says it was about 4 years ago, but I'm thinking we're really actually this is the all time lows. Like some of the data from CMC might not be completely accurate. Sometimes we should go to like CoinGecko. I would really encourage that. We're not going to do it for this particular one, but I think you get the gist of it. I'm leaning towards this is kind of somewhat close to all-time lows, so there's definitely opportunity here. Could it tank more from where it's at? Absolutely. Crypto is very volatile, as we know. So, but all-time highs was in the year 2022, and of course it went to $5.61. So the potential here is massive. So again, when we look at Swift blockchain, when it was doing some things, I feel as though, like especially the unbanning of BTC, altcoins, that was temporarily because then they rebanned it, as we know. But when we saw Swift blast off for no reason, everyone's like, I have no idea why this is going on.
Right.
Then Rue and I pointed out on our channels, this is what's going on. It's because of this news. They needed some kind of form of taking their old investment and having a bridger's the bridger's utility from Swift blockchain, and that got activated. As the saying goes, that's utility and put in motion, everybody. So when we jump more into this, here's ELK Finance. Like it says, the DeFi gateway, pioneering blockchain interoperability and abstraction, making Web3 more accessible, currently empowering devs, users, 30 plus blockchains, so on and so forth. When you get into the website, very interesting, very well worth noting website. Blockchain interoperability abstraction solution. And of course, like you see here, 370,000 plus cross-chain transactions. Again, cross-chain swaps, common ground here completely when we compare it to your Swift blockchain. So for me, if I'm Swift blockchain, I'm Rambo Lamb and so on, naturally, wouldn't it make sense to work with birds of the feather and so on? I think This is one of those. I'm going to show you one of the resources here. Basically, that's worth pointing out. So they have bridge as a service, farm as a service, and so on. I want to show you more of again some of these key things. So let me jump down, and like it says, the ELKnet is the heart of our solution. ELKnet smart contracts. Again, they have smart contract functionality, which is really cool. Tokens deployed in ELKnet are immediately native on supported chains. So there's no issue of, well, is it going to settle in ELK? Seems as though it would settle in ELK. As I pull this further down, I want you guys to see this. It's actually a little bit more about the whole thing of bridge as a service. Let's pull this up for a brief moment. And as we take you to that, you're going to see a little bit of that concept, okay? So for one, deploying cross-chain tokens and dApps. Streamline your cross-chain development with ELK's Bridge as a Service SDK. And they bridge to so many different things. I wish we could just show you all of it, but here's some of the integrated blockchains. Phantom, Avalanche, your Optimisms, your Ethereums, your Polygons, Arbitrum, Gnosis, IOTEX. Rue and I somewhat been covering a little bit of IOTEX lately. Chronos, some of you guys still feel confident about Harmony One. It is what it is.
There are a lot of Swift blockchain and Harmony One connections as well.
Yeah, there's common ground is the bottom line, right?
Yep.
But yeah, the Bridge as a Service. So Bridge as a Service utilizes a novel reservoir system for liquidity on supported blockchains, resulting in fewer smart contract risks, greater transparency, lower fees. This is not something that's just like your, a token built on something else. It seems as though they got their own thing with ELK Finance, right? And you can kind of see what they connect to say the least. So cross-chain use cases for banking as a service, fiat on and off ramps. Again, you look at your Stellars, if you will, like that concept on and off ramps. But I'm looking at more from the perspective of this is way lower cap compared to those, top 100 utility blue chips, if you will. So is there really opportunity here? I think there is. And of course, the price has gone significantly down compared to when we first covered it on Maximus Crypto. I think we were roughly around 11 cents and so on. So is this the time to jump into it? Well, that would be financial advice. I'm not giving you financial advice. Do more of your own research and come to a conclusion yourself. But whatever the case be, I do feel as though it's a big deal to get into this. And if anything, Rue, on our next video, we're going to get more into this about Hong Kong sets stablecoin regulation, call it cliffhanger. But I do want to get some of your thoughts about this potentially with Swift blockchain. It does seem like they have common ground.
Well, just if you go back to all the connections of blockchains it works with, again, there have been connections with Harmony One and Rambo Land. Rambo Land's the CEO of Swift. And I think we got some others on there as far as like ILTEX. All of these are kind of like, ILTEX is in the Draper Dragon portfolio. So there definitely a lot of connections here with Draper, Dragon, Harmony One, and so on, right? Yeah, I'd like to look more into this and look at more of the team. Seems like there might be a hidden team. I was looking at them right now. Their leader is Ball. That's pretty interesting that their leader is Ball like that. But seems like their team might be a little hidden. But I wanna look more into these guys in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And we might expand on this. We might not, but nonetheless, I think it's interesting to look at some of these things, the potential on it and so on. The key 5 things, I think it is. Yeah, 5 things I want to point out here is Fuse, obviously Binance Smart Chain, Optimism. As we know, Optimism is a layer 2 rollup for Ethereum. Even Jasmy, right, uses Optimism for Junction, layer 2 rollup, right? Deepen with AI times AI, and of course you see Avalanche here. So it's not like they don't have nothing going on here. Clearly they have some things going on here. Well, what happens when you start hearing about it? That's the bottom line. Of course, nobody's really talking about some of these things. So if there is, then shout out to some of you guys in the community. By all means, you're welcome to reach out to Rue and I if you want to expand our knowledge. We're always learning too. But we thought we'd bring this to you guys. Your main highlight, of course, may seem as though this dominated over Swift coin, but we thought we would introduce it this way to the Swift coin community compared to just being like, hey, check out ELK Finance. Again, the common ground. Clearly, there is some of that.
Yep.
So, guys, do us a solid if you listen to the entire outline. And what would be the code word for everybody?
ELK.
ELK. I've had elk meat. It's actually pretty good.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll know that you listened to the entire outline. On behalf of myself and Rue, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.